Quite interesting update there on the value addition that can come with mechanization. And of course, some good news for the farmers in Ramba. Well, I want to get into another interesting conversation at this hour, and this really touches on some of the key issues that continue to affect business people in the country and in Nairobi County. And I have an interesting panel this afternoon, and I'll be speaking to two gentlemen and a lady from the Chamber of Commerce. And joining me this afternoon, we have Namaisa Kireni from the Chamber of Commerce, and also have Abdullah Aden from the First Community Bank, sorry, I beg your pardon, from Gulf Africa Bank, and in charge of the SME. And we also have James Mwangi, who is a businessman. And lady and gentlemen, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Perhaps we can just start off with you, Namaisa. Looking at the kind of business environment we have right now, most of the SMEs have been having a challenge in navigating their way, be it getting funding, be it exporting, whatever they are doing. Paint for us a picture of where we are right now.
I think where we currently are as business is we're just coming out of an election period, and business has been a little bit strained for most in the SME sector. But if you look at what was said recently, central bank, that is a sector that actually kept us going and afloat during this period. So right now, where's the SME? The SME is really aching to go back to business, to get back, to get financing to start their projects. If they have to do export, they need capacity building. So the SME right now is a bit, we are at that point where we need to get back to business. So even if you look now, the streets, people are actually at work. We don't have the usual, it's Christmas period, but there's so much going on. Everybody's still at work, unlike what you experience normally.
All right. And Abdullah, of course, the banking sector has also been heavily affected when we saw the credit uptake going down. Really, how is the state of affairs for the banking community?
Thank you very much for having me. I think this year has been a really a mixed year for the financial industry, especially starting with the closure of several banks in the country, then the interest rate capping, followed by again the electioneering period, which actually stalled the operations, or the running of many businesses. Banks have gone slow in terms of lending because of the cappings of the rates that have happened earlier this year, which reduced really the income from lending for the banks, making the banks opt for looking for other ways, more safer options to invest their funds and everything. So this actually hits back to the economy in terms of mainly to the SMEs, who are the small people who the banks were lending to initially and taking risk on them. So this left now many SMEs having, not able to access credit that they were otherwise accessing before, where the banks could price at their own, pricing, methodologies and whatever. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
And of course, I know you have teamed up to run a program that will help in capacity building. And let me bring in James Mwangi. And James, how has business been, and what do you think this partnership will help in terms of improving your business?
Thanks for today hosting me and Nathan, but I would like to say one thing.
You can face this way.
The challenges and obstacles that is facing micro small traders. 1, space. 2, finance. 3, bylaw. 4, market. I think I would like to get it done, because the sector has been lacking something for a long time.
Yes.
And I think maybe they have come the right time. Kenya National Chamber for Commerce and Industry, Nairobi chapter, led by the chairman, Richard Gatia, assisted by my mother, Namaisa Kireni.
Yeah.
Because the other thing has been lacking. We know what has been lacking is leadership. Already, we have an authority, micro small authority, within the Ministry of Industrialization and Cooperative Development. two, the government was to provide fund for the micro small entrepreneurs. Now the issue, way back 2012, in the regime of former President Mwai Kibaki, he assented to a bill on 22nd of November 2012.
Yeah.
The small micro. Now, that small person, I been James.
And that's where the conversation is. Because I want to throw it back to you, Namansa. This partnership, how significant will it be for SMEs?
Actually, it's specifically within the SME. We want to help them access finance, we want to mentor them, we want to build their capacity. If you look at the micro and small trade sector, yes, you find that, like he has said, the representation has not been there in terms of a collective. Each group has its own separate person speaking for them. But it's better when you have more people. There's always strength in numbers. So for us, we want to help them grow. The partnership we've signed with another group called the Center for International Private Enterprise is a partnership that will see us do business with over 2,000 small and medium enterprise organizations across Mombasa County, Nairobi County, and Vihiga County. We want to see how we can help them open up to the US and trade with the US as a partner. Of course, balance of trade is in favor of the US, and
sure,
we want to expand that to ensure that there's more. With the Gulf Bank partnership, we are looking at assisting the youth and women. The program that they have is around that. They have already disbursed about 500 million in terms of funds for youth and women who have been in the space of procuring, especially following up on this 30% procurement.
Yes.
This is the space that they have actually been in, and we want to help them expand this space.
All right. And Abdullahi, of course, the financial sector is a critical player in all this. For those people who would want to be part of this program, how do they get involved, and what sort of amounts are the minimum and the maximum that one can receive?
I think the partnership, we have signed a very important initiative or partnership with the Chamber of Commerce Nairobi chapter, which is actually just the beginning of what we'll be doing with the Chamber across the country, and more so on the SME space, which is the main driver that drives, the economy of this country. We're looking at, in all aspects, in all sectors of the industries that the SMEs are playing, from, the government, the procurement, which actually she has mentioned, the people who are supplying the government or doing tenders with the government. We have done because what we looked at is people are given the tenders or, the tenders to supply and everything, but they don't get the financings to pull through to the contract.
That's what the gap is. So
there is a gap in terms of financing. Now, and again, at a time when there's a rate capping, so the credit crunch is usually it's really real, and not many banks are willing to lend to these people. So as a bank, as a Gulf African bank, we have taken an initiative where we say, look, we want to come in and work with the SMEs and make sure that you remain in business. And you'll be able to, to make sure that you deliver on any contracts you are given, be it on supplies, be it on a construction with the government. And again, to the smaller people who are also going into the contract, into business now as a first timer.
Sure.
And we do unsecured lendings of up to about 20 million shillings in that space, and about up to 5 million shillings for people who are doing now the normal SMEs, stock financing, asset financing for their business, acquiring spaces. The business premises and everything. So from the working capital, asset financing, and all aspects of the business that you're running, we'll be able to provide that solution.
All right.
We have as well been working a lot on the women and the youth space for the last 3 years, where we've done, as she had mentioned earlier, a lot of financing into that space. Because if we look at about 40 to 50% of the SMEs in these countries are run by women, and as well. The youth, again, play also a very critical role in the economy, who are also the ones who are moving from the normal way of going to employment and everything, and looking for now, to start establish their own enterprises now.
Okay.
So we're looking to see how we can work in this space with the chamber.
Quite a noble initiative. Yeah. And let's get your comments as well, James. Kama mwanabiashara, hii itawasaidia kivipi ukiangalia watu wengi wanasumbuka ikifikia wakati ya kupata mkopo?
I want us to distinguish between small micro entrepreneur and micro small entrepreneur. These are totally two different people. Either your industry, whichever industry, services, whichever case it is. And that's why we get lost. And if you can go way back 2015, no, 2016, Senator Matangi brought a bill to amend the SME Act to incorporate the micro small entrepreneur, starting from 500 shilling to 5 million, or whichever asset it can be much. But in the cap of ule mama nauza matunda pale kwa barabara, tau, how do we go about that? Look at, there is another person, go to there at the Juakari. The person ule utengeza kalai.
Hatuna wakati mwingi.
So I was trying to say this, as my sister and my brother, Nairobi chapter, have come with that initiative.
Yes.
My brother from Gulf Africa Bank, they have come with that initiative. Whom are we going to go? Are we going to go for the small micro or the micro small? Or are we going to go both with them?
Maybe she can tell us since she's here.
Actually, the whole idea is to help people grow. Okay. The micro needs to grow, the small need to grow. So this initiative is for everyone. It's not, we're not saying that it's not accessible for the micro, it's not accessible for the small. It's for everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. And we understand we've run out of time, but we'll definitely make another session to invite all of you here to expand this conversation. It's been an important conversation on the SMEs and how they